and good morning to Lucia for all of you here at home, and for those in the diaspora. Thank you so much for joining us on the Government Information Service National Television Network. I am Lisa Joseph. On this Wednesday, it is August 18, 2021, and we're here for another morning update, sort of brew if you will. I'm alongside Homer. Morning, Homer. It's always a wonderful pleasure to see you on a morning.
Yes, and always a great way to start our day, I have to say. I hope that all of you viewers are already set to have a productive day today. And if not, you still have time, okay? You still have time to show that you're doing so. Quite a few things happening today in St. Lucia as well as across the region, and we are going to be giving you all the updates that you need on that.
And of course, what has been predominant in the news and certainly occupying the attention of world leaders as well as here in St. Lucia, we're talking about government leaders, the healthcare professionals, and you and me, the ordinary man on the street. COVID-19, this pandemic just does not seem to want to let go of its grip on the world.
I think every time some countries see some relief, what happens is they're hit with another wave, or we had an introduction of another variant. And I think it takes a lot for you to just kind of structure your mind. And go through it.
Every day you have to process the information. It can be overwhelming as well because there's just so much to unpack. And so we hope here that we're able to give you some good information that you'll be able to have some informed choices, make some great informed decisions as well, how to keep yourself and your family safe, and by extension the entire country. And speaking about the COVID, let's get into the numbers. The Ministry of Health reported yesterday, Tuesday, August 17, 103 new cases, and these new cases were taken from a sample total of 390, and they were of course processed at Ezra Long Lab on Monday.
We also saw the recovery of 16 individuals.
And that's always good news to see the recovery of individuals, but I'm thinking that the recovery happening fast enough.
Not fast enough.
We are certainly grateful that we did have 16 people recover.
Right.
And so with these 103 new cases, we now up in our active cases to 896.
Which is quite concerning,
896. It is very concerning because when you have to think of it in the total breakdown of these are individuals, how many of them really require hospitalization? And when you juxtapose that to the available rooms that we have at the respiratory hospital, whatever other facilities they may be able to be accommodated at in order for them to receive that due medical care, it is very concerning. And one of these cases are requiring critical care at the respiratory hospital. So the breakthrough, as we've been hearing since the outset of this pandemic, and once we were able to get the scientific community to be able to develop the vaccines, we've been told that vaccination is our way out of this COVID-19.
Yes.
And so yesterday, Homer, we saw the governor of St. Lucia receiving, as part of a CARICOM-wide donation from the government of the United States of America, a donation of some 52,650 doses of the Pfizer vaccine, and we're very grateful for that. And so it now means that we have options added to the AstraZeneca, which we've had predominantly up until now. So we are encouraging individuals to go out and get vaccination, to get vaccinated at the various sites. So today, August 18, 2021, you can go to the Dennery Mothers Preschool, as well as the VG Sports Complex, and from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., you can go there and get yourself vaccinated. If that does not work for you logistically, you can make an appointment for you to be vaccinated at the community wellness centers, and we have at least one wellness center in every district in St. Lucia. So you can call or you walk in order for you to make an appointment for you to get that vaccine, please do so. But we also know that for the government of St. Lucia, COVID-19, as I said earlier, is at the top priority. And we did hear from His Excellency Deputy to the Governor General, Errol Charles, yesterday at the swearing in, or the first session of the 12th Parliament, that opening and the swearing in of the MPs and senators. He did indicate that the government is taking this very seriously. So Homer, fill us in on that.
Indeed, Lisa, that is one of the things that from his throne speech that you could have deciphered that one of the high priority areas for the government is the health sector, and ensuring that they're boosting the health sector to ensure that not only that we are able to deal with COVID-19 and the threats that is posing our country's health sector, but also the other ailments as well. So one of the things that was mentioned by Deputy to the Governor General, His Excellency Errol Charles, was that St. Jude's Hospital is on the government's high priority list. And we do have a clip from the Deputy to the Governor General, just an insert from his throne speech yesterday.
Residents of suffered for too long from the substandard healthcare facility of St. Jude Hospital. The people of the South deserve better and will get better. My government will therefore immediately commission a task force to assess the state of affairs of the St. Jude Hospital project. This task force is also expected to make recommendations as to the best option available, given the various structures on the construction site, in securing the early satisfactory completion and commission of the hospital. These improvements should...
And in speaking to improvements to our healthcare sector, one of the things that the Deputy General, His Excellency Errol Charles, also stated was that the government will be allocating resources for the improvement of the respiratory hospital. So let's hear more from the Deputy to the Governor General on that.
These improvements should go a long way in allaying the fears and lessening the resistance of to COVID testing because of the unacceptable conditions at the respiratory unit. Mr. Speaker, Mr. President, given the urgent need to return to some level of normalcy in the face of COVID-19 challenges, my government's health agenda remains of paramount importance.
In addition to that, His Excellency Errol Charles also noted that the government of St. Lucia is committed to granting relief to people who have been disproportionately affected by COVID-19. I note that a large number of the population have been affected by COVID-19. And one of the things that, Lisa, like you rightly mentioned, when it comes to COVID-19, usually we think of the health sector, but the economy is also something that is taking a hard hit from us being affected by this pandemic.
Absolutely. And the government has already indicated that there will be a complete strategic plan in order to be able to assist those who are being financially crippled by COVID-19. And we're talking about individuals as well as members of the business community. More information will be released on that as that plan becomes more definitive and ready for rollout. You know, COVID-19 not just happening, as I said, it's not just here in St. Lucia, it is the world over. It's in our neighbors in the Caribbean as well. Over in Martinique, what we've heard of is a French Navy vessel that is due to arrive in Martinique later this week. And it is bringing with it over 100 tons of oxygen.
Oh, wow.
And that will be used at the University Hospital over in Martinique. That island is really struggling to cope with the COVID numbers. And I mean, we've heard of so it's in excess of 1,200 cases within a day, 4,000 in a week. And I mean, these are staggering numbers there. So the director of the regional health agency over there in Martinique indicated that the oxygen production capacities by the company that they use, Airlift, it has exceeded. And supplies that they're getting from Trinidad and Tobago as well, where that company is headquartered. The production capacity is greater there, but even that, he says, may not be enough for them. So they need to get this supplement, which is coming over from France. In Monday, Martinique authorities reported a slight decrease in the COVID infections. They had 566 new cases confirmed for a 2-day period. They also saw 3 deaths as well. And so since the start of the pandemic in March of last year, Martinique has recorded 31,485 cases. August 14th, more than 89,000 people have had their first COVID-19 dose of the vaccine. So
encouraging indeed, Lisa. And when you do hear those numbers, it makes you, it really does make you feel for the sisters who are going through these cases, because, you know, like you've always mentioned, it's good to look at this silver lining, and that, you know, this decrease in cases that Martinique is facing is something that we continue seeing. One of the
But you see, the thing about Martinique is that they do have that big brother, big sister, if you will, with France. And for the rest of us in the Caribbean, especially in English-speaking Caribbean, we're not that fortunate to be able to heavily rely on a first world nation as Martinique and Guadeloupe and some of the other French departments can with France. And so we are really in the struggle, trying to waddle as much as we can. And so I know over in St. Vincent as well, they're also facing a bit of a crisis with COVID-19. Well,
yes, Lisa, one of the things that I actually saw with St. Vincent is, and it's something that I was quite excited to share this morning, is that their numbers have actually declined a bit. They're seeing cases, positivity rate of 1.1%, which is for them because, come out of the crisis with the La Soufrière volcano, their numbers were staggering. Yes. And it was something that they had to face in addition to trying to recuperate from the volcano. But from what I'm seeing there, their latest figure is 6 new cases on the 16th of August, and that follows Saturday, the 14th of August, 3 new cases. So right now in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, they are also recovering 3 new recoveries, and 40 cases are currently active in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I thought that was quite nice. They're a little bit of relief, and especially
because they've had a tough time.
Yeah, they've had a really, really hard time. And one of the things, and recently St. Vincent and the Grenadines have also been in the news given the
COVID measures.
The COVID measures.
Mandatory vaccination.
Mandatory vaccination. They've been in the news for that. And I guess even that, the PM implement mandatory vaccination is one of the reasons, given all the cases that they were facing. It was just a measure that to ensure that, I guess, they don't go through it again.
To take something as drastic as possible to be able to jolt individuals to protect the country. Right. Over in Dominica, the cases, while St. Vincent is seeing a decline, over in Dominica the cases are increasing. And the last figures I was able to get my hand on, as of Monday, they were at 575 active cases, and they're in a complete lockdown right now. Wow. And Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit has said that he's deeply sorry for the first death, COVID-related death that they've had. And he did say that the death represents an opportunity for national reflection, so that individuals can begin to commit themselves to practicing the safety protocols recommended to keep them safe. Tuesday, yesterday, a 46-year-old woman became the first Dominican on island to die from coronavirus. And she did have pre-existing medical conditions, something that we in St. Lucia are quite familiar with. And she was admitted on the 14th of August, that's Saturday, and died by Tuesday, yesterday. So that gives you an idea as to how rapidly and quickly COVID-19 can take a life. So there in Dominica, you know, already they had some very strict measures, and the measures have gotten stricter. The Empowers Curfew Order of 2021, which governs the curfew put in place for COVID-19, is currently being extended for a further week. And the Cabinet Secretary, Karina Prevost, made that statement yesterday. We have a little soundbite from her on that.
A person shall not be out in a public place between the hours of 5 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Monday to Friday, except to provide or access essential services. The list of essential services which can be accessed during the week have been clearly defined in the SRO, and we have spoken to these over the last few weeks. I wish to advise further that Cabinet has taken a decision that for this weekend, there will be a complete lockdown from Friday, August 20th at 6 p.m. to Monday, August 23rd at 5 a.m. This lockdown is specifically to allow for frontline workers who have been at this fight from day one to rest and spend time with their families. Many of us may not understand the immense pressure, long hours, and commitment required from our frontline workers at this time. If you would like to do something for them as a token of appreciation for their hard work and effort, please stay home.
Secretary there in Karine Provost speaking there yesterday in an address as Dominica puts measures in place to be able to deal with its COVID-19 surge. Here in St. Lucia, Prime Minister Honorable Philip J. Pierre has indicated that unlike St. Vincent, we're not going the way of mandatory vaccination. We're not going into the exceedingly strict, draconian measures of complete lockdowns and so forth. The Prime Minister has indicated that it is important for St. Lucians to be able to feel like they do have a voice in how the COVID-19 is managed, and that voice is for you to be able to adhere to the protocols. You need to take it upon yourself. Show your maturity, St. Lucia. Take charge yourself. As the Prime Minister has indicated, he has faith. He believes in the people of St. Lucia, and he believes that we can commit ourselves to doing the right thing. So let's prove him right on that count.
Indeed, Lisa, and like you mentioned, there's simple things that you could do to ensure that you keep yourself protected, ensuring that you wash your hands, ensuring that you sanitize frequently touched surfaces, ensuring that you exercise good personal hygiene, which is important. Keep to yourself within crowd, that you stay masked, you wear your mask in areas, especially in closed areas. You keep your mask on to protect yourself and those around you as well. I'm not sharing food utensils is something that I think by now you should know you should probably not be doing to avoid COVID-19. And if you do feel like you are experiencing symptoms, ensure that you get tested. You visit your nearest respiratory clinic and you ensure that you get tested.
So we want to take a quick break here. When we come back, we'll be switching it up a bit. We'll be hearing from the Minister for Youth Development and Sport, Honorable Kenson Kasme. Stay with us. You're at the Morning with Lisa and Homer.
Pas toucher bouchou, pas toucher zio, oueste caillou, ma wepio, protecte famille, quand ça caille ou pas catan, police caille baou. touché. Lavez les bouets, chavoublé. West Caillou soufflé. Comment c'est moi qui t'ai oisé? Avec quoi mon West papier? Toi, qu'est-ce que nous cabouté? Corona Carini, yo coup de pied. C'est la mort. Hey, pas toucher yeux. Pas toucher bouchou. Et try pas toucher nous. Social distance, 6 feet minimum. For more information, just dial 311. What's the book at you? Please stay at your home. Coronavirus, coffee, Nico, Al Capone. Can't what take cause you even give you diarrhea. Practice good hygiene, corona can't disappear. And what are you from? Who bad virus la? Who bad virus la? Who bad virus la? And what are you from? Who bad virus la? Who bad virus la? Who bad virus la? Who bad production.
And thank you so much for staying with us on this Wednesday morning. It is August 18. You know, yesterday we indicated that the first session for the 12th Parliament, the new Parliament, has opened. And we had an opportunity to speak with the Minister for Youth Development and Sports, Honorable Vincent. He's been able to spend the last 2 weeks or so being able to get his feet wet in the ministry, a ministry that he's quite familiar with. And he'll be telling us about how that has been going and how he sees the development of sports in St. Lucia, as well as our young persons. He spoke with Davina Lee, the Principal Information Officer.
It's been pretty good. We've had a lot of opportunity to have meetings with some of the executive members of the department. Into the PS, have a lot of conversations with, what has obtained over the last few years and how we want to move the department, the ministry forward. It's very, very encouraging that most of the persons at the ministry would have been persons that I'm very familiar with, being a national athlete from the age of 7 till now. The likes of Cuthbert Mordes and these individuals. It's refreshing to see some of these individuals still within the ministry. And so we've done a lot of conversing on the financing aspect of things. We still have a number of organizations and stakeholders to meet with. And so far it's been very, very good.
So in terms of plans, what plans do you foresee for the department based on the government's mandate?
Well, one of the things that we always spoke about in sports is developing the athlete holistically. And so today we had a symposium for elite and burgeoning athletes and off-the-court issues, mental wellness, the dynamics of the interview, contracts. And so we've always tried our best to nurture on-court, in-pool, on the track, exploit athletes. And so now we're dealing with the mental as what it means to be an athlete. And so these are some of the programs going forward that we are really going to push within the department. Capacity building is something that is very important for me in terms of administrations. You have a swimming association, you have a track and field association, bodybuilding. And so you would want to encourage programming to ensure that those persons that are charged with the responsibility of administration, they have the capacity to ensure that the athletes continue to be productive. I have a youth ministry as well in terms of youth empowerment and dealing with the younger persons from our country, ensuring that they are placed in jobs, ensure that they get the requisite training before. We have called a youth corps where we get persons at least getting some employment opportunities before they get to the next stage of their life. I think that's very important for our young people. Skills training, partnering with the Ministry of Education to ensure that we have the correct programs in place, something that I'm going to be heavy on as well.
The Minister for Youth Development and Sports, Honorable Vincent there, speaking with the Principal Information Officer, Davina Lee. Will be hearing from another interview that Davina Lee conducted a little later on. But the ministries and there's always a cross-fertilization that takes place amongst the ministries and government departments over at the Ministry of Equity, Social Justice and People's Empowerment. They also deal with young people by way of the after-school program. There's lots of intervention programs. The YEP, which was launched earlier this year, deals with that as well on the social aspect, crime prevention and so forth. And so we want to hear a bit more about a summer camp that was held. We go to Chevroy Marius for details on that.
For the children from the Denry North constituency, Summer camp provided the opportunity to explore, learn new things, and make new friends. The 2021 summer camp was spearheaded by the Ministry of Equity, Social Justice, and the People's Empowerment in collaboration with the Ministry of Youth Development and Sports. The summer camp was held at the Dennery North Human Resource Development. Summer camp facilitator Claudine Loison welcomed this venture and stated that this initiative signals the need for the community after-school program to be implemented in the Dennery North constituency.
This activity, I can say, is greatly needed in Dennery North, and I believe this summer program should just be a stepping stone for an after-school program, which we're trying to work on. So the two ministries collaborate, because as you may know, Dennery North have one of the highest rates of incest and child molestation, and to me that's a way we can help the young children and keep them occupied rather than having them home.
The summer camp provided a safe and fun learning environment where the children were meaningfully engaged in a range of indoor and outdoor activities, including arts and craft, dance, fun sports, board games, and movies.
I made new friends. We played arts, we make arts and stuff, and we have lots of fun.
I feel great because since I was bored at home, my mommy asked me if I wanted to go to camp. I said yes because I was very bored staying at home on my own. I would say the camp was very awesome.
Social Transformation Officer and Summer Camp Coordinator, Mrs. Danalie Estava-Santange, stated that the summer camp allows for children to socialize and interact with their peers and youth in the community. She also appealed to parents within the Dennery region to support the ministry's efforts by sending their children to next year's summer camp.
Well, since we were not able to sponsor many children, I know that there are parents out there who can sponsor their own children. So we're hoping that next year the parents will get on board and that they will see the benefits of camps. Like the children get to socialize, they get to interact, they get to explore who they are, they get to, mingle with people in the society, in the community who are actually youth and community action oriented. So you get that kind of civic responsibility into your child. It's not just about leaving your child somewhere.
Minister for Equity, Social Justice and People's Empowerment, Honorable Joachim Henry, embraced this year and emphasized the need for the Ministry of Equity to facilitate in the active development of vulnerable children in the various communities around the island.
The investment in summer programs for our children, these activities like these are very important to the ministry, and we will continue to support and invest and ensure that we target the children who need to benefit, from programs like this. They are very good programs. The children are exposed to sporting activities, they are exposed to developing musical competencies, the steel band come on board, and they are exposed to a range of activities so that they benefit. But an area that I think we need to review or look at the possibility of finding an attractive way or a very strategic way to improve and to transmit values of caring, values of appreciating life.
The program focused on the holistic development of children, engaging them in personal development and enrichment activities. Reporting from the Ministry of Equity, Social Justice and the People's Empowerment, I am Chevrolet Mario.
I have the mask on, but you can't tell that I have this huge grin on my face.
Yes, similarly.
I just love children, their innocence, their energy. They just represent, the good in us
and
as human beings, right?
Expressing how much fun she was
Wasn't
having.
she the cutest? I haven't been at home by myself because we know that, summertime, mommy and daddy must work.
True.
And so we have a lot of our children who are left on their own, not because the parents don't care, but really because they do not have the means to do otherwise. And in this hand-to-mouth an era that we're living in, parents really do need to work in order to be able to feed their children. So programs like these, stopgap measures to really help parents, to allow them to be able to work and allow the children to be in safe environments. So we're grateful for such programs happening all over the island through the government of St. Lucia. And we do have some organizations as well that chip in to make it happen.
Very true.
So, Homer, we are going to take a break now. We're going to switch gears again because there's a lot happening in our main economic driver, that is the tourism sector. And so we'll be speaking live with Jeraine Georges, who is the public relations manager over at the St. Lucia Tourism Association Authority. So we'll speak with her, but before her, we'll be hearing from the recently appointed Minister for Tourism, Investment, Creative Industries, Culture and Information, Honorable Dr. Ernest Hilaire. That's on the other side of the break. Stay with us.
We at war with the virus, ready to harm us. Panic is not the answer. We can win this together. Often use hand sanitizer, better yet open water. We must protect each other if we are to beat this corona. Together let us win more. Be a soldier for St. Lucia. Together let us win this war. Be a soldier, together we can beat this corona. So you don't become the next case. Avoid touching your face. I'm sure you've been told so. Shakes and hugging her up. No. Advice is you the please. Cover your mouth and your nose if you cough or sneeze. Practice social distancing and avoid large social gatherings. Together let us win this war. Be a soldier for St. Lucia. Together let us win this war. St. Lucia, be a soldier. Together we can beat this corona.
For further information, please contact the hotline at 311 or the Bureau of Health Education at 468-5349.
And thank you for staying with us here. Homer and Alyssa with you from the Information Command Center. It is the morning brew for this Wednesday, and before we went to break, we indicated that so much is happening within the economic driver, the tourism sector, and the recently appointed minister, Honorable Dr. Ernest, he has been doing some sort of, getting out there, the meet and greets, the familiarization tours of various departments within his ministry. And he spoke with our Principal Information Officer, Davina Lee, about how that has been going and what his vision is for the various departments within the ministry as a whole.
Opportunity for the last 2 weeks to meet and statutory boards to explain the vision of government, to explain the approach of the government. And I think in a sense, I am more equipped now knowing what the different departments, the different ministries were doing. And like I said, to start sharing with them our vision. And in the next few weeks, we'll be discussing a work program. As you know, we're almost halfway through the financial year, and we're starting the process of preparing the budget for next financial year. And therefore, we will need to start preparing our work plans, our work programs. So the next few weeks, I'll be engaging the different ministries again to help them shape a work program and a budget that reflects the priorities of the St. Lucia Labour Party.
Can you just give us an example of some of the priorities we could look out for?
Yeah, for example, in the area of information, clearly there's the cry to have a public broadcasting station. Radio St. Lucia was closed. We now need to examine the new technologies to see how we can structure and organize the Radio St. Lucia that will not become a burden on the public purse. And I think we are starting to do that right now. In terms of tourism, we noted the last government had started the tourism program. We need to build on it. There were 3 pilot communities, Ancillary, Soufre, Grosile. We need to expand on that. We need to maybe redefine the village tourism, because village tourism, in our sense, we know what a village is as against community tourism, because whereas a concept probably means more than village, but in our St. Lucian understanding, when one speaks of a village, you know what it means. So we might have to redefine it. Some of the projects took place in the last couple of years were not exactly what we thought should be. There were projects of lighting a playing field, finishing a community center, and we believe the village tourism project should be more geared at getting people directly involved in the tourism sector. So there'll be a revision of that. Likewise, in investment, there have been no major foreign direct investment in this country in the last few years. There have been initiatives, they've never come to fruition. So we will again be engaging investors. We want to also place a heavy focus, and you will see in the coming years, well, next year or so, legislation that promotes local investors, treating them as equal as foreign investors, because again, we want solutions to be at the forefront. Creative industry will be a major area for us, and we are now looking at CDF, events company, and the creative sector to see how we can cause greater integration and sync in the efforts between the three, because you have events putting on events, you have CDF largely involved in training, we don't have a creative industries commission or body we have in the ministry, but we need to rationalize it, and some of that we will be doing in the coming months. There's been talk about a broadcasting bill for years that has not been given a priority. We will have to advance that work and ensure that our people in India and people involved in broadcasting understand the framework within which they exist. So there's a lot of work to do, and we cover a lot of areas, but it's been exciting, and I think just getting to understand what's going on has really been enriching for me. Yes, but it's been exciting, and I think
and the words there from the Minister for Tourism, Investment, Creative Industries, Culture and Information, Honorable Dr. Ernest Hilaire. We had online the Public Relations Manager over at the St. Lucia Tourism Authority, Doreen Georges, is with us. Some very big developments happening there within the tourism sector regarding Airlift. And we want to say good morning to Doreen Georges, who's on Zoom with us. Good morning, Doreen. Can you hear us?
Good morning, Lisa, and good morning, Herman. I have been tuned in and listening to.
Oh, wonderful. Let me just say, wow, how bright you look. That's the sort of vibrance. That's the sort of vibrance we need here on this morning on the brew. And of course, COVID-19 can be so doomy and gloomy. So thank you so much for cheering us up with that bright look of yours. Wonderful. So that bright look also means, Doreen, that you have great news to tell us from your quarters. So fill us in, because we're hearing two things. That Caribbean Airlines has returned to St. Lucia, recommencing flights, and Virgin Atlantic as well. So give us the skinny on that.
Well, Virgin Atlantic, we announced that they're gearing up to return in December. Tickets are going on sale, have gone on sale from the 18th of August, which is actually today. And Caribbean Airlines returned on Monday, the 16th of August, and on hand with us at the airport. Commemorate the return was Tourism Minister Dominica, along with the lead for the Caribbean market, Gustav.
And I know it takes a little time for us to get used to all of the swaps, Doreen, but certainly the tourism minister would be Honorable Dr. Ernest Hilaire. That's right. So I know that it's a little difficult after
Dr.
all of this
Ernest
time.
Hilaire.
Yes. It takes a little time.
I stand corrected.
But tell us about the...
I apologize for the transition.
It
I apologize
happens.
sincerely.
These things do happen. But talk to us about the importance, the significance of Caribbean Airlines, first of all, and returning. What does that mean for our tourism sector? What does it mean for the airlift?
Well, Trinidad is one of our significant markets. Of course, we know the Caribbean market is the second largest market to St. Lucia. And Trinidad is one of our key markets along with Martinique. And in 2019, when we saw the performance of the Trinidadian market showing growth over the 18 performance, we knew definitely that this is the market that we have to hold on to and continue to nurture. And so with the return of Caribbean Airlines more than a year and a half later, I'm really happy to see that, our two islands can connect again. Visitors can continue to come. Our returning nationals can continue to go back and forth. And
with Virgin Atlantic.
And it really speaks well for us.
Yes, it certainly does. Just to inform that, the little delay, sometimes the Zoom calls, the technology doesn't always cooperate when we want it to.
Very true.
But we'll press on. So we do apologize there in the technology. We're apologizing for the technology. But, Jareen, when we hear about Virgin Atlantic, and we know that the UK market is certainly our second market outside of the United States. So can you just qualify for us the importance of having Virgin Atlantic, one of the players in that marketplace for us?
Well, it would be really bringing back the service and adding to the performance of the UK market. We have British Airways flying out of and Heathrow at the moment. There's also TUI flying out of Gatwick. And then Virgin coming back would pretty much add to the strength of the market.
And our final question there has to hover on COVID-19. So we've heard from the Minister for Tourism, Honorable Dr. Ernest Hilaire, as well as the medical professionals. While we do have visitors who are testing positive, perhaps on exit, the numbers are indeed very small. So the measures, the protocols in place within the tourism sector definitely seem to be having the desired impact. So are there any additional measures that have been taken within the tourism sector to keep all of us safe?
There are discussions ongoing as it relates to protocols to strengthen on the tourism side. For us, we can attest that the protocols have worked and continue to work, but there's never enough room for vigilance, and so we want to continue to be vigilant as it relates to visitors to the destination and protecting the local population.
All right, we want to thank you so much. Jareen Georges, the Public Relations Manager over at the St. Lucia Tourism Authority, the SLTA. Thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully we'll be able to touch base with you soon. All right, Homer, we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be in our home stretch.
What's in the food you're eating? Do you really even know all the chemicals and hormones used to accelerate their growth? All the artificial flavoring, sweeteners and colors too. We consume and we don't spare a thought for the damage that they'll do. No, think about the children. Think about the children. How will we save them? Chemicals and GMOs are not the solution. Use organic and join.
Excessive agrochemical use, additives, and genetically modified foods are harmful to health and the environment. Join the good food revolution. Grow, buy, and consume organic. A message from St. Lucia and the Ministry of Sustainable Development with funding from the GEF Small Grants Program, UNDP.
Good food revolution.
And welcome back to the Morning Brew with Lisa and Homer. Lisa, I believe that we've some information today already. Just to kind of round it off while we close, I know yesterday we spoke about, the tragedy that took place in Haiti over the weekend. Number of people losing their lives there. Just a quick update. Last I saw, the death toll has actually risen 100. So that's something that, of course, is unfortunate, and they kind of had to take a little break from recovery or relief efforts to wait out Tropical Storm Grace. They did get some rains from Tropical Storm Grace, but now that they've recommenced in their search efforts, 500 more persons have passed, bringing their death toll close to 2,000. That is, of course, we do expect that the death toll may increase as they continue. Also, in terms of the number of people who are currently injured, close to 10,000. So it's within 9,900 range. And that is the update currently. When it comes to Tropical Storm Grace, we also realize, as our viewers may have noticed, that it has also it's now a tropical storm, so it went down to a depression and has risen to a tropical storm as well. Yes, it has re-intensified. So these are, just a few updates from some of the things that we spoke about yesterday.
And we have to continue to give our prayers to our brothers and sisters over in Haiti. And as indicated yesterday during our conversation, that the governor of St. Lucia remains, well, not yesterday, Monday. We had a little time warp thing going on here.
Yes, Monday.
It is Wednesday. But the governor of St. Lucia stands ready to provide whatever assistance that it is called upon to provide. And so the people of St. Lucia as well, we need to stand ready with whatever that we can do. If there is a regional effort going on, however we could join our hands with our brothers and sisters across the region to help out Haiti, which just can't seem to catch a break. It is heart-wrenching to think about how our Caribbean brothers and sisters are over in Haiti. And as Irma spoke about Tropical Storm Grace, that intensified from a depression back up to Tropical Storm, that reminds us that we are always in a state, we should always be in a state of preparedness, because we are in the hurricane season. Just to see what else is happening in the tropics. So we have moisture and unstable conditions, really in a tropical wave, and that's going to continue to affect the southernmost part of the islands of the Eastern Caribbean. That's going to happen today. There's another tropical wave located over the central tropical Atlantic, moving westward at about 17 miles per hour. And the wave is expected to affect the West Antilles from early Thursday morning, that is tomorrow. And then there's a third tropical wave located over the Eastern Atlantic. It's moving westward at about 12 miles per hour. And if that's, on your caution radar, we also have the Saharan dust that's continuing to cause a reduction in visibility and air quality across the West Antilles, including St. Lucia, for the next few days. So make sure that you wear the mask. It comes in handy, not just against COVID-19, but that Saharan dust as well. If you're suffering from all of those respiratory illnesses, it's going to be great protection. Indeed. So Homer, that's on the tropical end of things. What's happening to us weather-wise?
For the weather today, winds will be blowing from between the northeast to and east near 22 miles per hour or 35 kilometers per hour with the gusts. Our weather today, we are expecting fair and hazy skies, becoming cloudy at times with a few showers today, becoming mostly cloudy with scattered light to moderate showers and possibly isolated thunderstorms from early tomorrow morning. So that's what our weather looks like. Forecast for today, tides for the Castries Harbor will be low at, or rather were low at 6:44 a.m. and high at 1:41 p.m. Tides for Vieux Fort Bay will low at 8:11 a.m. and they are expected to be had at 2:48 p.m. Seas are moderate with waves 4 to 6 feet or 1.2 to 1.8 meters today.
All right, so make sure you always have those umbrellas very handy. You're not an umbrella person.
You know, Lisa, I'm not either, but every time I get stuck in the rain,
you think of the umbrella.
I should have grabbed the umbrella, especially the small ones that could just, drop into your handbags. I have quite big handbags, so these are handy.
It's when it's wet I have the problem with it. First of all, I can never really get it to open. I have a difficulty with that. I don't know what it is. Is my hand-eye coordination off? I don't know. I can't get this thing to open as it should. And closing it, well, forget about that. It's just,
I always say this.
I'm not good with it at all.
If you do get stuck in the rain, do a little dance. When was the last time you danced in the rain? I mean, that's one way to
Now, what does the rain dance and what does it really do? Do you know that?
The rain dance, you mean?
I don't know. You want me to just dance in the rain? Is it going
do a little dance in the rain? I mean,
is it going to make me happy? Is that what it is?
Perspective is everything. The rain is not going. And if you do get sick, don't blame me. But the rain is not going to kill you.
I'm all about keeping things into perspective. I'm all about finding the cheerier side to everything, the silver lining, if you will. So, being caught in the rain, it's not bad. It just really depends on whether if you dress very nicely, if you're really out, you need an appointment that you have to keep. And if you're coming to work, you really don't want to come in drenched.
Don't intentionally get stuck.
What I would love to see though, Homa, is perhaps more raincoats here.
Raincoats were a thing when I went to school.
But I'm talking about those, those that you could just throw over. Those really, really see-through.
Yes.
And you just throw it over.
I don't see any of those.
I don't see that here. So, hey.
Business.
Yes, hello.
Business idea.
Ding, ding. So, entrepreneurs cracking on this.
I want share.
Yeah, we need to have options. That's what it is. We need options.
You would go for the raincoat as opposed to the umbrella.
We need options when it comes to rain protective gear. Did I say that right?
I'm very sure that they understood.
Whatever that is, we need options, okay? Now, as we close off, so we're closing off, and let me just give you, there are some new rules that have been implemented due to COVID-19 at our medical institutions, coming from the Millennium Heights Medical Complex, and that a body is responsible for the OKEU Hospital. It's responsible for the National Mental Wellness Center, as well as a Turning Point. So it is now telling you that there are new rules for labor and in the labor and delivery rooms. So in line with the latest guidelines on changes in health protocols related to the surge in COVID-19, effective today, Wednesday, August 18, as they're trying to balance the individual patient with the duty to reduce infectious exposures to visitors and patients. And the healthcare team accompanying support will not be allowed into the labor and delivery rooms, and that is until further notice. So these are really to reduce the potential risk to patients, staff, and visitors over at the OKEU hospital there. So no one, apart from the health practitioners, allowed there in the delivery rooms. One other notice there with the Owen King EU Hospital. Again, in line with the protocols, effective today, visiting hours at the hospital, the OKEU Hospital, will be from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m., and that is to reduce the potential congregation of visitors. It is now 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. You have 1 hour. Each patient will be allowed 1 visitor per day with a maximum of 15 for each visit. So the National Mental Wellness Center and the Turning Point Rehabilitation Center will continue with the existing revised COVID-19 visiting hours implemented last year. I think it was a half-hour period on the morning, 6 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. There was no 12 noon.
No.
And so now we're hearing that you have the 5 p.m. to the 6 p.m. So these measures are temporary and intended to reduce the potential risk, as I said, to patients and we need to adjust in order for us to be able to keep ourselves safe. One other point for you: vaccinate, vaccinate, vaccinate. So don't forget, over at the Dennery Mothers Pool and the VG Sports Complex from 9 a.m. up until 4 p.m., you can vaccinate yourself. And you can also walk into any community wellness center so that you can make appointments for vaccine. That will do it for us on this Wednesday morning. Thank you so much for being in the brew with Harma and Lissa. See you next time. Bye.